evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome. Brendan and I, this is your night, so may we all do it justice. To open the night, I think the words of Dermot Gallen are very apt, so please let me share them with you. Every Saturday, Mam would send my brother and me down to Brennan's to collect the messages. The list rarely changed. A half-pound of cooked ham, a pound of Tullamore sausages, Kerrygold butter, a pound of sugar, a good-sized chicken, a Haslam's loaf, a packet of jelly for Sunday dessert, the Irish Independent, and a dozen country eggs. Milk wasn't on that list. Johnny Brennan delivered that to the gate early each morning. The eggs came in a brown paper bag, so we had to mind them. There was no Gallen, no tagliatelles, no Nespresso coffee pots. We would stand there patiently and watch as Michal read the list to himself and went around the shop getting everything. Women mostly would come in and out, lingering to share the latest with Michal and Rose Coughlin, and to see who else would turn up. With the wicker basket full, Michal would toss it up on a scrap of paper, muttering sums half aloud, and we'd hand over a £10 note and leave with plenty of change. May I extend a warm welcome to each of you here this evening. For anyone that may not know me, my name is Sharon, a native of Gallen. Spent my childhood growing up in this town, and in turn have raised my own family just across the road from here. Many might recall Roger and Gallen in its day. Tonight I feel will be about memories, vivid memories that we will all share of stories of time spent and lived in the green fields around Gallen. What Brendan has captured in the leaves of his new book, The Light of Other Days, is truly amazing. Yes, I sat down to read through it in the past few days, with pen and paper to the side, to jot down a line or two. That faded away as I was captivated by the detailed account given by Brendan that knits together the amazing tapestry of lives shared in this wonderful town. The history, the names, the marriages, the building of estates, the arrival and boom years of ESB and Old Namona, clubs and social life, shops on Main Street, in essence, lives of ordinary people. They say a picture paints 1,000 words, and as I leaf through the pictures, memories open the dreams and achievements of a life past, and remind us that what we are today is built on the shoulders of those gone before us. In reading the stories shared, not only takes you to a time and place, but reawakens your own memories with family, friends, and community. The town, with many of its characters and names known to us in our lifetime, are worthy of reflection and memory in the pages of The Light of Other Days. To Brendan and Cecilia, to the family members and the community of Gallen, thank you for this night of celebration. Thank you, Brendan, for your gift and your expertise, for your patience and your time. And to finish quoting Dermot, the words of Dermot Gallen again in his foreword, it aptly reads that Brendan's attention to detail brings everyday life vividly to memory. The people, the shops, the bustle of the fair, the sporting endeavours, and the quiet rhythm that makes small-time town life feel full and meaningful. To share some of their memories and sentiment, I ask you to extend a warm welcome to our panel of speakers, familiar faces to you all. We welcome Father Kevin Fleming amongst us. We also extend a warm welcome to Miss Deirdre Connolly, to Father Peter Burke, and to Father Pat Brown, and of course to you, Brendan Ryan, who will say a few words at the end of the evening. I now call on Father Kevin to share with us a few words.
Oh, yeah. Down to earth.
First of all, I just want to thank Brendan and Celia for inviting me to this evening of launching of his new illustrious book, and to thank him for what he has contributed in this wonderful book. I've already glanced through it with incredible production. My first encounter with Brendan Ryan goes back to 1988. And those are good as sums and abilities difference. I was home from Korea. I'm a missionary, I'm a missionary. I was in Korea and I was home in 88, and it was the year of my silver jubilee, whatever that means, 25 years. And because we were ordaining in Gallen Park at Christmas time, my late brother said to me, "Why don't we have a silver jubilee mass for you, for the family, before you go back to Korea?" And I said, "That's not a bad idea." So we set up a date in the beginning of July, and that was it. But he was a clever man, my brother. He used to ask these little crooked questions and all the rest of it. But I was totally in the dark. The mass was at 8 o'clock up in the parish. I went up to the church at 7:45. Next thing I met one priest and two priests, and they said, "Congratulations on your silver jubilee." And I kept looking and I said, "How the hell do you know it's my silver jubilee?" And next thing the great canon O'Rourke comes down and he says, "We're not vesting in the sacristy, we're vesting up in the parochial house and processing in." And I said, "What is this all about?" So up I go to the parochial house, and there are about 6 or 8 other priests there, including a classmate of mine, Cyril Lovett. So we processed down to the church. The church is full. We had this mass, and I think it was Father Pat who gave the homily. And he did a bit of ragging at the time, and he said his big thing was, "When this fella's home from Korea, I find it very difficult to sleep. At all hours of the night and day, his gate is open and banging and closing. How the hell can you sleep when a fella like that is around?" So we took off from there. And I said, "Well, that's it." Didn't end. Out we go on the street, into a vintage car, and down around the whole bloody town, swinging. And ended up in the parochial hall. And now, up on the stage, this man is standing in very nice formal attire. So he helped me up onto the stage, and I quietly asked him, "Who are you?" And he says, "Brendan Ryan." Well, I said, "Thank you very much now, because I might have to remember that later on." So he was the MC for the evening of that celebration. And then he introduced us all sorts of visitors, including Noah and Mrs. McCarthy came down from Dublin and all the rest of it. But in the middle of it, there was a mystery present of Father Neil O'Brien. Now, you wouldn't know who Father Neil O'Brien. Father Neil O'Brien had just come home from the Philippine Islands after 6 months in a jail with 8 Filipino farmers on a trumped up thing that they had murdered a mayor. And it was in a dungeon. I went down from Korea to Philippines to you. Our Colombian lads were trickling in a bit of news into the RT with Ortega. So RT decided to send out someone to investigate this story. And who did it send out? The late, great Charlie Bart. And Charlie right in, he interviewed Father Neil O'Brien and the lads in the jail. He was in the courthouse and he kept sending home one story after another. And next thing, the story about what they call the Negros Nine goes out over the airways. And next thing, the government had to give in, and they were acquitted and exonerated. And here he is at my Silver Jubilee here in Verban. But I just add one story. He was very emaciated at the time, about Neil O'Brien, incredible man. He got cancer afterwards. And his good father died of Dublin. And he insisted on doing the funeral mass for his brother, for his father. And we were really holding him up. But he got to the homily and he said, I am not going to preach a eulogy today, because a eulogy is now frowned upon. People get carried away. I'm going to preach a gospel story on death and dying. But, he says, I will give you the definition of a eulogy which my father gave to me. My father said a eulogy is two people lying, one in the coffin and one in the pulpit. Anyway, that was Neil. So back again to Brendan. I was away most of my life. I kept in touch with Brendan after that by just correspondence and all the rest of it. But later years, I have come to be aware of the contribution this band has made to Verban community, transforming education, the whole thing of history, culture, you name it, and the little work he's put in. It's incredible what this man has contributed to Verban over the years in so many different ways and in his own way. And I just want to congratulate him. I know a little bit more about what he has done, and thank him for inviting me this evening, and I'm looking forward to reading his new book. Thank you.
Well said, Father Kevin. Thank you so much. At the beginning of the night, I asked him to come and sit at the front, and he said, no way, I'll sit down at the back. I'm glad now that you're sitting there beside your neighbour. Thank you so much for your words. Our next person that's going to share a few words with us tonight is Miss Deirdre Conley, so give a warm welcome to Deirdre.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Brendan rang me last week or the week before, and he said if Mammy, Rita Connolly, for those of you who don't know me, if Mammy had been here, he would have asked her to come. So I suppose I'm here representing her and her memories. But also, the more I read the book, I'm here very much representing my own, because I was having flashbacks and dreams since I started reading it. In the last year, Mammy passed away last August, 12 months, and Brendan, as far as I remember, you were checking certain facts with Mammy even before that for this book. And I'd say she would have loved to have been here to see it, because, especially, and to be honest, I had to stop reading it because it felt like I was listening to Mammy talking about all the times. Mammy lived across the road from the hall. There's a gate across the road from the hall, and Sheridan's was down there. And Mammy, whoever knew Mammy would remember that she was very much into music. So when Mammy was, I'd say, able to walk, from when she was able to walk, she was put up on the stage by Grandad. That the travelling players would come, and if they needed a child for the stage, they'd send over to Sheridan's, and Mammy would be sent over to go up onto the stage, and then they'd come back looking for chairs and everything. So Mammy's memories of Verban, and the Sister Benedict said it to me the other day, yesterday, I was talking to her about the book, and she said, Mammy lived this book, and we are so fortunate that Brendan has put it together. From the second you handed it to me, I haven't been able to put it down, and I'll be very honest, and I'm surprised. I was afraid that everybody would be looking at the book when I was talking, because once you get into it, it's very hard to stop. What else did I want? Oh yeah, my memories, and I'm sure there's a lot of my generation here as well that will remember all the shops that are mentioned. And one lovely memory I have was of Vincent Kavanagh in Dockery's. That Vincent was a very, very precise, genteel man, and I used to go in and get elastic for German jumps, the long elastic. I'd save up my pocket money for that because the small elastics kept breaking. So everyone would want to play with me because I'd have the long elastic, and he'd wrap it up as if it was silk and make it feel really important. And then you get nostalgic, sad is too strong a word, and I'm looking at faces down there who would have been in my youth as well. Calling into Peter Gallen and getting a single or taking a pull out of one of the singles and hanging around with the boys, and then Rita was so kind, her smile was always so kind, but then going into the post office and Seamus Egan and all the teasing he'd do and never took you too seriously. I mean, this isn't about my memories tonight, it's about Brendan's book, so I'm not going to keep going on about it. But they were the three. 18 said, find 3 memories and mention them, so that's what I've done, I do. But one thing that struck me, because I was going to write something down, but it kept changing, that I turned 60 this year, and I felt bad about turning 60 until I realised it allows me to have more memories. And that I'm now permitted to be able to remember more of everything that's in this book. And it's so important that we cherish the people with these memories. So the more memories they have, the more that these people should be cherished and treasured, because Fermanagh is more than parking, the car parks and all these developments. It's the memories that we have make Fermanagh, and they allow us to continue on the integrity of this town that I'm so very proud to be here, or to be able to live in again. And it's really important that I really wanted to get that point across, that when people, and I'm very glad that Brian, the lads Brian Flynn and Paul Boland are heading up 2 key groups in the town, because they will have the same appreciation of these memories, because they were brought up here. Sorry, I had it all planned out and now I'm getting lost to myself. We can't just come in and change things. We have to take into account the memories that belong to those things, no matter what it is. That it's what makes us up. And just this evening, I'm not into poetry at all, but W.B. Yeats said, tread softly on my dreams, whereas I'm saying tread softly on our memories. They are so important to us, and they're now on in black and white, which is wonderful, and I look forward that everybody I know is getting them for Christmas. And again, Brendan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Deirdre, for those wonderful words. And Deirdre is so right. Anyone that has sat with this book, and I myself has said it in the beginning, it not only takes you into the memories that are in the book, it takes you to your own memories. I shared the book with a work colleague during the week, Alma Daly, Rita Gunning's daughter, and her face lit up and she went, oh my God, and I remembered. And that was only her reading one little part of it. It just does that to you. And like sitting with Brendan and Celia last night when we were having a chat, and Celia's face lit up and she said, sure, that's where the Santi shop was done, was in Rita Gunning's shop. And then talking with Alma today, she said, yeah, my God, Our sitting room was full to the ceiling on Christmas Eve, and my dad's job was to deliver all those parcels in the dark on Christmas Eve. That's community. That's what loyalty and appreciation to a place is. So I'm not going to talk much further. We have a lovely person here, Father Peter Burke, a man of few words, but a man of honest words. So we welcome Father Peter Burke to
Good evening, everybody. It was Gorgicus, it was Briocus who won the Brandon, so some Pochicon, Into Luisharton, Cora also Gore again. But to join my words to those who've gone before me in congratulating Brendan and thanking him for again another wonderful production. Just thinking of what I say tonight, I'm thinking about Brendan's contribution. Kevin has mentioned it in very glowing words, very appropriately. But I think it's something around identity. It's put us in touch with our identity. I was thinking about that. For some reason, there has been a heightened sense of identity, I think, in our country in general in recent times. I'm thinking around our traditional music. There was a great growth of interest and appreciation of that. And in more recent times, almost out of nowhere, an appreciation of our language. You're about little clubs and groups going up to perfect the language or to improve the spoken language. That sense of identity has always been strong, but that sense that has been enkindled again in our country in general. That's, I think, what Brendan's great contribution has been, to heighten our sense of identity of our place, not just with this publication, but in the many, many publications he has placed before us. Page 4 of the book is an extraordinary read, just shows his phenomenal output, meticulous research, scholarly penmanship, and always accessible to young and old. So it's been a marvellous achievement, and I'm sure there's more to come. Brendan says every time, many launches I've been since I came to the parish, and every time Brendan says, this is my last one. We didn't believe it then, and we don't believe it now. I'm aware of going around the parish visiting homes, very often some questions come up about the history of the town or the parish or the landscape or whatever. And invariably the comment would be made, I wonder would be something about that in Brendan Ryan's book. Of course, that always begs the question, which one? There are so many. Another couple of images that came to my mind when I was thinking in a general way about Brendan's contribution around the sense of identity. If you watch the club championships, the GAA club championships, they're always on at this time of the year, the provincial finals, and the extraordinary sense of joy that people get about their local club winning. Even your men who have won All Ireland titles with their county, but they get far more kudos, far more joy out of what they win with their local place, that sense of where they were born, where they are rooted. And finally, an image came to mind on all of this, putting it all together. You know the lovely film, The Wizard of Oz, I'm sure it will be shown this Christmas, it is every Christmas on several channels. The lovely story of the little girl Dorothy from Kansas who makes her way with her friends along the yellow brick road to Oz. She's always longing to come back home. Towards the end of the movie, when she's in Oz and the splendor of it all, she makes the famous statement, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And that phrase took off, it's been used millions of times, maybe especially by exiles, but by all of us, I'd say, at some stage, there's no place like home. So when we believe this, it's people like Brendan, I think, that put flesh on those words, on that concept. Because that's essentially what the local historian does. He helps us to, or she helps us to appreciate what our local place is, what it should mean to us, that indeed there is no place like home. The local historian, and Brendan has done it so brilliantly over the years, unearths and preserves the stories, the traditions, the physical features of the place that we all call home. And he has helped us to connect ourselves to our shared past and heighten that sense of identity. I would call the local historian I would call Brendan in a very significant way custodian of our identity. Custodian of our identity. He's done that marvellously well in this production and in so many others. So in every parish, I suppose every parish, every town, every little community is a universe in itself. Because wherever people live, there's a story to be told. The least we can do is to tell that story so that future generations appreciate who they are and where they came from. Just maybe share a little churchy story, maybe to draw out the point. I think I've shared this in church a number of times with people, but remember back at the Eucharistic Congress in 2012, there was a lovely talk given by a girl from the Aran Islands called Audrey Clancy. And she shared the story was that the day she left for the Congress, a knock came to her door and she went out. There were two fine young men standing there, impeccably dressed. She discovered that they had been brought up Catholic in Galway, but they were now preaching the Mormon faith. They were going around. So she engaged in a conversation as only she could. And she discovered in the conversation that really they had known nothing about their own tradition. They had lost their own story. Because they'd lost their own story, something died in them, and they had moved on now to preaching the Mormon faith. I think that's the same in general. If we lose our past, the future dies. That's why the work of Brendan is so absolutely invaluable and so important. Because it's giving us that sense of identity, connecting us with the past so that we can have a future. So once again, I commend him very warmly for this wonderful production. We look forward to more. I salute the custodian of our identity.
Thank you, Father Peter, for those wonderful words of reflection. And now we come to Father Pat Brown. No better man suited to launch the light of other days. And if I may share with you, for any of you that are leafing through the book, on page 53, there is a picture of Father Pat sitting leisurely outside of Marion's shop around 1974 with Anita Dunn and Mrs. Mary Conway and himself. And I think it captures the essence of carefree days. So Father Pat.
I became parish priest in the carefree days left. Very quickly. Brendan, such a wide variety of topics that you've dealt with, from GAA to poetry to poets, reminding us of the land of the river of God. The river of God goes through our parish, goes through our community, reminding us of the town itself, the planters and the settlers, of Shannon Bridge, Gallen, Belmont. So with these themes, with these topics, this man from northern side of inner city Dublin really has become part and parcel of West Africa. Thank you for what you've done. I launched a barge on the canal outside Burton-on-Trent. When I came in this evening, I was looking for the bottle of champagne that was usually used to smash against the ship. Being in Burton-on-Trent, it was a bottle of Bass we used, and we threw it at this barge that I blessed and launched. I think I never got a trip on it. God bless him. But now, there's no champagne. There's tea still going, is there? There's tea on it, yeah. So, I never got this opportunity before. So here goes, Peter. So, on us, on Laura Shoala, her son, Green Dawn Marine, saying thank you, God bless you, and give credit to Cecilia.
Seagull for putting up with all the bits and pieces and paper that are hanging around the house. Here you are, this house. Just don't forget also, I was, like Kevin, away from home for many, many years. And Brendan's books, being sent to me by my mother and various people, used to arrive. They were very special. We spent the first night reading through them, and then we'd use it as a powerful reference book to help us to understand more and more about our hometown.
Father Pat, well done, well done. You were sharing there just how you look forward to books coming to you as you were away. I was speaking with somebody else in the town today and they were saying, what were you doing for the weekend? And I said, well, somehow I got roped into being MC for the launch of Brendan Ryan's book, and she went, oh my God. I used to go to every launch with my dad. And we would wait and he would sign the book. Dad has passed on, but she said every one of those books are in my house, and I treasure them, and I treasure the evenings that I had with my dad, with Brendan Ryan. So this is what this book is about. It's not individual stories, it's collective stories. It's what touches somebody, will resonate with somebody else. It's just wonderful. So we come to Brendan, and we have been fortunate, and we have said that we are truly grateful for your expertise and to supply our town with such a collection of memories and stories and such detail. Grateful for the now of our time, and how much more important will it be in the next 50 years. Speaking with Brendan and Cecilia last night, as we finished our conversation, Brendan was so relaxed, and he recalled arriving in the summertime of the 50s, Brendan, if I remember correctly, walking down Main Street. Music was coming from the bars, crowds of people strolling up and down. And Brendan's words was, wow, this is cosmopolitan. Give a warm welcome to Brendan.
First of all, I want to thank everybody who has come here tonight. It's great to see you all here. I'd like to also thank the speakers, Father Peter, Deirdre, Father Pat, Father Kevin, and our very genial MC, Sharon. I'd like to thank you for equipping us with sound, and I also want to thank Celia and our own family for their cooperation, patience, down through the years, and especially Celia's patience. She surely has she has a lot of patience. I'd like to thank Gareth also for the use of the community school. You'll notice there's only one name at the bottom here. And yet, there's an innumerable number of people who contributed to this. It's by no means a one-man show. I'd like to start with Aidan Wynne, who took charge of the photographs, the captions, and names that we couldn't identify. He put them on Facebook and X, Y, and Z show, and found out who the missing people were, whether they were on board the moon or just wherever. So Aidan did this book. There's a lot of people then, as I say, who have contributed their memories, their experiences to the book. Another comes to mind is, I see him down there, Sean Keane. Sean was my go-to man when I get mixed up with football teams, especially underage teams. I'd contact Sean, and Sean would put me straight. And Sean also gave me permission to include a recent poem of his. And he was taking a nightly stroll through the town, and he took a shortcut in through the schoolyard. And he walked along the schoolyard, and he had a lovely poem. I can think of Sean Alexander.
I walked upon a memory.
I walked upon a memory. The memories of his boyhood came flooding back to him, and he wrote this beautiful poem, I Walked Upon a Memory. So, Sean, again, has thrown his into the book. Dearman Gallen also contributed photos from his archives, and they went into it. We had Pat Swallow and the Scouts. We had Lisa Healy and the Girl Guides. We had Lucy Smith and the Athletics. There were many others, but one of the things, and that I'm particularly happy with, back 25 years ago, when we were working in the Heritage Centre, one of the projects we undertook was we had about 15 or 16 lost girls and boys in it. And one of the projects we undertook was to bring in older people. And we had our tape recorders, and they spoke about their youth in Ferland, and all sorts of fairs, markets, growing up, school, everything. And it was all taped, recorded, and written down. And I have each of them was 80, old and not old. And I have them on my tape recorder. About a quarter of them are dead. We did 88, I think, and there's about 33 of them dead. But our words are living in the book. Their memories are alive in the book. They're gone. Some of them are, like myself, are nearly there. But the words are in the book, and they're alive in the book. And I'd like to congratulate also the Brosnan Press for their courtesy at all times, and the high standard and high quality of work that they turn out time and time again. And they facilitate me on every occasion. If I want it this way or that way, it's done. I'd like to end with the words of Father Sean Hyde. Father Sean used to put on shows here, annual shows, called Tape. It was mostly in the High Street area. And there was a review and a mix and gathering of all sorts of shows. And at the end, the night when the show was over, Father Sean would go on the stage and he thanked everybody for coming. He's very good to come. And then he'd say, if you've enjoyed the show, tell everybody. And if you haven't enjoyed it, keep your mouth shut. If you've enjoyed the book, spread the word. If you haven't, keep quiet. Thank you. Deirdre and Sharon, especially for their contribution tonight. And I think Aileen is working towards something from autumn. And right. Now, we have a special one for Frida, who is going to change the content. Again, I just want to thank everybody for coming and thank especially for speaking. Thank you.
Okay, there really isn't anything left to say, only enjoy, and anyone that receives it from you will thoroughly enjoy it. The book is on sale tonight, it's €25, and over the coming days and weeks it's also available in Centra, in Justin's Pharmacy, and in the post office. I might just finish with a quick word. Brendan last night, he walked into Centra with the book in hand and he walked up to Phil, and Phil went, "Brendan, it's not that time of the year again. You don't have another book." So I'm just leaving you a little job for yourself and see you for the next year. Please God, we'll be back here in 12 months' time. There's a cup of tea for everybody. Enjoy. Thank you.